So should you do a 50-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage, or should you just pay off your property? At the end of the day, nobody's going to live in their property. Typically, they don't live in their property 5 to 7 years. So after 5 or 7 years, they're out of their property anyway. Me, myself, as a real estate investor and developer, I just look at it like this. My ultimate goal is always just ultimate freedom. So freedom looks like to me is everything is just 100% paid off, because I've had times in my life that things were taken away and I never wanted to see that, period. So I would rather just have the thought process of like everything's just paid off. So just, the goal is live way below your mean and just make it work, right? And just find a property, at least that if you have a transportation, you have a place to stay that has central AC, which is very convenient, and you and your family could be taken care of, then do that. Because at the end of the day, even if it's a 50-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage, everything is always going to be increasing. Impact fees will increase. Wastewater connection fees, your taxes are going to be increasing. There is literally nothing, I just want to make sure I'm checking my notes here, there is literally nothing at all that is going to decrease in time. And here's why I say that. So I just recently graduated the Civilian Police Academy. And when I graduated Civilian Police Academy, this also gives me a very unique perspective on the 50-year and 30-year mortgages, because I'm also a developer. I have been an investor, served in the United States military. I know local municipalities very well, right? And after graduating the Civilian Police Academy, a 15-week program, I got to see the inside, literally behind the scenes of how the government agencies work. And what I saw was all of them are beyond inefficient. And what happens is you have individuals that go to, let's say, the police department or a government agency. They get there at 20-something years old. They retire at 20 or 40 years old, or 40 years old, or 45 years old. And now until they die for 40 more years or 30 more years, you're going to be paying their retirement. And that's going to be increasing their medical care, all this other stuff. So what happens is that revenue that's coming in, more and more is not even going, property taxes does not go to property taxes. If you ever look into it, like for the city of Lakeland, it actually just goes to, less than 4% actually goes to your actual infrastructure. Everything else is endowments, everything else is like pensions and salaries, not even the operations. Less than 20% go into operations, or 30% of operations. So for example, if the law enforcement gets 50% of a local municipality's budget, if they get 50% of $100 million a year, right? So let's say they get $50 million a year, $25 million a year is just going towards people's retirement. So what happens is every year, it's always going to be increasing. That's why I say your ultimate goal, it doesn't matter about the 30-year, 50-year, whatever. I personally predict what's going to happen with the 30-year and 50-year play is going to be, number one, you're going to have a very temporary real estate boom. It's going to allow a lot of investors and developers to cash out and get out of the game if they choose to, or keep playing it, but it's a different game. And now a lot of people are catching on that these are basically these municipalities are monopolies, right? They are 100% monopoly. Your electric company, it's a monopoly. Your tax company, it's a monopoly. And it is what it is. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just sharing with you the truth is when you understand the rules of the game, like the chessboard, if you understand the chessboard, you just need to understand how do you play, period. And how you play this is, one, keep your expenses low, live way below your means, get cash heavy, and have no debt. It's really simple, right? And what you want to do in this 30-year and 50-year play, or the mortgages, what's going to be the prediction is short-term boom, long-term deficit. And then you have to take care of yourself. Get off social media, get off everything, and do the best that you can to level up your skill set, period. So if you're a developer and you see these 50-year mortgages and everything else, me personally, I would cash out as much as I possibly can during this period, get cash heavy, because there's still amazing opportunities. Look, when you have the skill set of understanding property values and understanding how to do commercial real estate or development or value adds on property, you'll never be broke. That's never going to happen because your skill set is too high. You know, your value of how much money you make is a direct, it's like a direct descendant on the skill sets that you have, period. If you want to get a raise, the easiest way to get a raise is just ask your boss, hey, what else can I do? Period. Can I get that off your plate? Great. And take it on the weekends. Take it on. Never look, just remember this. If you always look at the clock, you'll always be the hand. Period. If you always look at the clock, you'll always be the hand. So if you truly want to go, for me, at one point in my life, I worked a normal job, right? It was at Clever Investor. I was a mentor at Clever Investor. Normal hourly pay, had to track my hours. But I took on everything because I never looked at anything as an hourly rate. I was having a ball at Clever, but I was an hourly guy when I first started there. When I started taking on everything and I started figuring out, I'm like, oh, okay, how do I become the best mentor ever? You could ask yourself, how do I become the best at whatever I'm doing? And do the extra work. And so what I did is I created the mentorship curriculum. The curriculum at the time, because we only had 50 students and 3 mentors, but I did a hiring process because I saw the bottleneck was going to be, we have so many students here, but how do we fulfill these students? I saw the bottleneck. I took it on. I started tracking everything myself. And then I said, hey, I would love to be the director of mentorship. I made up that name. We didn't have that at the company. Cody at the time was like, yeah, it's a great idea. Oh, sure, why don't you take it on? When I did that, I literally hired everybody else. I hired 18 more people, ran the entire staff, and we did extremely well. Created a new department called the URC program, Ultimate Result Consulting. 96 people went through that at $10,000 each. We almost did $1 million. We did probably, top line revenue was what, 960,000 in 18 months. And that was no marketing fee at all because that was all clients that we already had. And they were getting amazing, amazing results, because that's what matters. What matters is create items that people are getting amazing results, and it will always work out for you. So going back, hopefully this is helping you. And then just FYI, so I turned around from being an hourly to being a part owner to then making over $500,000 a year within 3 years. Okay, so this happened in less than 3 years. I went from an hourly guy to running the entire department to hiring everybody, making over $500,000 a year. Having my dream house, having my dream car, having everything that I ever wanted, material-wise. I had more happiness when I had a $500 a month mortgage and all my cars were paid off and I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank than I did with a 4,000 square foot house in a gated community, having my dream car, dream everything, still having $100,000 in the bank or whatever. But I had more happiness in the small one. Just FYI. And I did both. So it's interesting how it plays out. Sometimes people just need to go through this. So I'll finish it with this, going back to the 30-year and 50-year mortgages. My prediction is, if they do that, short-term boom. Because what they're not factoring in, and a lot of people aren't unless you're boots on the ground. Like if you're in the trenches as a developer and investor and you're pulling permits and you kind of see what's happening, you realize that local municipalities are completely out of control. City managers and mayors, they should be compensated a lot more to take this serious and get a rev off the what's coming in, because what they're doing is they're just raising fees, period. It's nonstop every year. So you're going from 10 years ago was a $5,000 impact fee to now it's a $28,000 impact fee. The reason why you don't have affordable housing, and you will never have it until this changes, you will never have it. It will only start getting more away from people. And the average age right now is 40 years old for your first home. I predict the average age is going to be 50 within 5 years. And the main reason why is because the accelerated rate that local municipalities, which they know this, they know they're monopolies. They know that you could just move if you wanted to, right? But they have a monopoly. So what happens is they just keep raising the costs until revenue doesn't come in, and they'll make an adjustment. But everything keeps rising. Impact fees rise, everything else. So right now, you could go in an area, you could buy a lot for $15,000, but that same lot, you're gonna pay $35,000 in impact fees. Yeah, I'm doing a property right now that we're gonna post everything online for free so you can see it. This area, the lots go for about 20 grand. Our impact fees, if I don't get any kind of grants related to this, will be over 35. And this is in a lower socioeconomic area. So just think about that. Lower socioeconomic area and this is happening. So how do you think the future is going to be? Have you ever seen the government do everything right? And have you ever seen them decrease on costs? I haven't. I'm 46 years old. And I've been paying attention to this. Literally, the last 6 years, I've really been paying attention because I'm a developer. Every little, it matters. So hopefully this helps, but also be encouraged. Right now is the perfect time frame to understand that no organization, nobody, do not rely on anybody. That's why when I got out of the military, it was like, I don't want to live my life saying, what if? So don't live your life saying, what if? Just level yourself up. Kill your ego, have integrity, work with somebody that you want to be like, even if it's for free, if you can, because the skill set that you're going to learn is priceless. That's why, like, for years, I would learn for free. My biggest thing was like, do I have food on the table? Do I have AC? Because I do like my comfort of AC. Do I have a bed? If not, do I have a couch, right? And do I have some kind of revenue that I could at least live some type of comfort? If I have those, everything else needs to go towards education. All of it. Real education, meaning people that are really making a difference. And don't forget too, you're going to go through this, this is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. In the beginning, you're going to be on top of Mountain Stupid, right? It's all good. Then you're going to get in the valley of despair because you're going to be like, God dang, this is hard, right? Then you'll go to the slope of enlightenment and then you got it. This helps, let me know. Bye.